Hello, and today I will be presenting my personal narrative project, Seeing Myself Through Others. So, for the introduction here, have you ever thought that your acquaintances might understand you better than you know yourself? That is exactly the point where I must say my way of thinking has turned upside down while performing this project. Generally, I am a person who understands very little about himself, but the result of my interviews with my sister Shubria, my mom and her friend Sunil, and my friends Sean and Akhil made me start to understand that people closest to me through their perspectives and, in fact, their words as well. Each one of them not only mentioned the times when they saw me at my best, but also deduct me from those happenings three main qualities, which were recognizable: my independence, my loyalty, and my calmness under pressure. These conversations were indeed just a step towards knowing myself better and quick insight of how my communication pattern and my relationships depend on that. So today, I'll be outlining the similarities in their viewpoints, how MU public self compares to my perceived self. And I'll be talking about the journey through my transformation, outlining the steps I'll take to leverage my strengths in relationships, goals, and future career. So the first one comes from my mom, as she has been my biggest supporter for all the years I've been here, and we've been through a lot. So this is what she says: You have done a great job being able to adapt to changes over the years with how many times we've moved. Even though it's been difficult, you still find ways to blend with the system, no matter the circumstances that say otherwise. So yeah, past 13 years, I've moved a lot, switched schools, and it's really difficult to get in. But for me, being able to adapt to whatever environment I have within I face, that's been one of my biggest strengths. I've been able to face it just like that. The next supporter comes from my little sister Shubria, and she's gone through a lot as well, which I've helped throughout her entire life. So this is what she says: I noticed that at times you stayed up late to finish a task. I like your mentality to never give up, no matter how difficult the situation is. Your mindset has helped me during my dance practices throughout the past year. So I was able to do my RNG drum, aka dance graduation for that school, taking your inspirations to fight through every frustrating rehearsals and classes. So yeah, a lot of the classes, a lot of the practices, times she was hurt, sometimes got bruises, and like she felt like she wanted to quit. But I said, hey, this is your year. We're going through this. You're going through this graduation. You can get through it. And with that, she felt great when she finally got to that graduation. Next one comes from my mom's friend Sunil. Now, these two have met since high school, 30 years ago. So they've been friends since 1995. Been really good friends, but it wasn't until 2023 when I first met him. And he has a son, is turning 11 this year. So this is what he has to say: I've noticed the way you treat my son, unlike anything I've ever seen. A lot of the times, older kids get annoyed and tired of having to deal with younger kids. But the way you interact with my son, whenever we meet during holidays or seasonal breaks, I'm shocked. You're a great kid. It's no wonder why younger kids get along with you. So it's not just his son, it's also other younger kids I'm able to get along, connect, and help with them throughout their journey. And this one of my friends, Sean, I first met him in elementary school. So this is what he had to say when I interviewed him. Ever since we met back in elementary school, you've been a supportive friend. It wasn't until middle school when we really bonded together. Every day at school, during lunch, we'd always do some sort of activity to interact. You always find time to video chat on weekends whenever possible, and we could play online games together. So yeah, it was used to be back in the day before high school and college. We would whenever we could video chat and we'd play a lot of online games together. Just have fun that way to bond. And I just recently got back with him after a couple of years. Last seen him, so we still have that bond going. Akil's a little bit different. See, I only met him in the same middle school that I went with Sean, but they never really knew each other. He was like this. He was a different friend from Sean. So here's what he had to say. It's funny how we first met. I remember when you first took the bus and we would go to the same school. But later it was a coincidence that we lived in the same apartment complex, just in a different towards. You always found ways to solve problems, and everyone involved to make sure they are okay. And this is my self portrait. Before this project, my self image was a person who was independent but had some doubts whether what he did was enough. This is my perceived self, the way I see myself as a private individual. Nevertheless, as a result of these dialogues, I found out that my public self, the way others see me, is frequently more positive and composed than what I thought. Those who are close to me consider me a person who they can depend on and who has self control. It was not obvious to me because I was used to concentrating on the negative aspects of my character instead of the positive ones that I already have. This self perception is a process of interpreting our own behavior in order to figure out who we are. I found that my self image was not complete because it was missing some features that others already see in me. Moreover, this is connect with a concept of self disclosure, which means at times when a person shares personal information with others, feeling open made people feel more intimate with me because I could not feel so without their presence, and by doing so, they made me see myself more accurately. Another similar concept is nonverbal communication. Since one of these things people mentioned about me was that my calmness was often supported by my voice tone, body, and facial expressions, it made me realize that communication is not the only way we say, but we also show what we go through being. So, for my action plan in the future, once I've already precisely recognized my strengths, I plan to deliberately use them to prosper in my relationships, studies, and career. For starters, I will keep loyalty alive by ensuring that I always remain in contact with people that I love the most, regardless of how busy I might become with my life. Besides, I would also like to use my independence to its fullest by setting my own goals and being the leader of my activities instead of waiting. Using emotional intelligence, I can become a better listener and therefore an empathetic communicator, which is what I want to be in relationships. Moreover, my calmness can be a very effective tool in a conflict situation and will make me a source of support for others as well. In a work environment, having these qualities could also be as good as I will be the one who others rely on. While calmness is going to help me through difficult moments, it will help to reflect on how others are able to learn how they can work better in the environment. So, to conclude this presentation, it took me the entire project to comprehend that self knowledge is not an individual affair. It is actually facilitated by other people's perspectives. Thanks to my sister, mom, friends, and even family friends for lighting up their strengths in me, which I usually don't pay attention to. Being independent, staying loyal, and being calm are not only my traits, they're also my tools which I can employ for constant development as a communicator and a human being. The most significant takeaway lesson from this learning experience is that feedback serves as a mirror. At times, it reflects the things that we least expect. However, if we are willing to look attentively, it reveals who we really are. And here's the references that I used to use the certain concepts, words for the presentation. So overall takeaway from this is that there are times where we underestimate ourselves. We doubt who we are. We probably don't even know how much we know of each other. We don't even know how much we really know about ourselves until others see it in you. And when they explain it to you, and you come to that realization, you're just like, oh my gosh, I never knew I was this type of person from the start. So yeah, I think this was a fun project. Time consuming, yes, but I think it was really good. Help reflecting, and it was just a lot of fun overall. I enjoyed doing this. So thank you for the presentation, and hope you enjoy it. And have a good rest of your day. Thank you.